We'd like to call the special meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is request authorization to seek sealed bids for 2 new recreation passenger buses.
So move.
We have a motion by Rose, support by Hunter. And if anyone would like to talk about pursuing sealed bids for 2 new recreation passenger buses that are for the seniors as well as for the youth. Now, you're welcome to speak at the microphone. Does anyone have any comments? And this will be brought back to the Township Board for approval. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is a request to approve the agreement with Washtenaw County for barrier busters. It is a 3-year contract in the amount of $450,000, which is ARPA funding as well.
So moved. Support. Swanson.
Thank you. Motion Eldridge, support Swanson. Discussion on this item? I know we do have Moon here from the county. Barrier busters is kind of like a safety net, if you will, that is currently in place. Yeah, you could probably talk about it better than I could. Can you turn the microphone on? There you go.
Good afternoon. Okay, that's great. Yes, on behalf of the Office of Community and Economic Development, I really appreciate Ypsilanti Township considering barrier busters as a program to support with your ARPA dollars. As an aside, actually looking at your entire ARPA package, I really appreciate the emphasis on low and moderate income communities because that's where my passion and my work has been for a quarter century now. I had sent earlier kind of an FAQ regarding barrier busters. And just so you know, it is our intention to make sure that Ypsilanti Township has regular updates on how we're spending the funds, both on a quarterly and an annual basis. And then actually from feedback provided here a couple of years ago, we also have some heat density maps. So that will be available to you folks. That might also serve for you to identify other kind of like hotspots areas, neighborhoods where you might want to be, having additional services. Those are definitely areas that barrier busters will be focusing on. And I would just also note that while I am here today to talk specifically about barrier busters, it will also be kind of like an entree for people who receive emergency assistance that then be plugged into the other programs over at Office of Community and Economic Development, be it our weatherization or other home improvement programs, our senior Meals on Wheels, and also our new financial counseling center, which will be opening up hopefully within the next month or so. So I'm just here to entertain any questions.
Questions or comments for Moon?
General question. That last bit you just spoke about, could you expand on that a bit? Financial, you said financial?
Yes. So the county will be implementing what's called a financial empowerment center. And what that's supposed to be is kind of like a robust sort of like financial literacy and sort of coaching service, really, in a format that's not supposed to be talking down to people, but really seeing the coach and the client is kind of like a partnership in trying to figure out like, with their own agency, where they want to be having their financial goals be. And so hopefully the service will be launched in about the next month and a half. There's very robust training that our new counselors have to go through. It's taking them about 5 weeks or so. It's national credentialing. And then they have to do a number of shadowing visits to existing financial coaching facilities. So that they'll be very ready when the rubber hits the road. And we can definitely have separate conversations down the line about maybe having one of our counselors located at the community center once a day, for example.
Thank you.
Other questions? Where will that financial center be? Do we know?
So it will be hosted out of the Office of Community and Economic Development. I'm actually the person who's building the program for launch right now. And we will be doing services out of OCD. In addition, we have a number of co-location partners, one out in Family Independence Agency out in the Hilltop area in Dexter, Chelsea. Jewish Family Services to serve our city of our greater Ann Arbor population, and then a co-location with Eastern Michigan University to meet people there who, I will be frank, OCD is adjacent to the police department, and there might be some people who might have some trauma issues about coming into our building for good reasons. So we're hoping to those are our first 3 co-location partners, but we're hoping to expand in the second year to additional sites. And again, you know, with Ypsilanti Township, it wouldn't necessarily be a full-blown co-location site, but we could definitely talk about having our counselors on site, maybe for a day, a week, or what have you.
Okay, great. I know something that we discussed that happens, and there's not really any resources, is accessible ramps for people. That is such a challenge to connect people to those resources, even if you have the financial dollars to do it. And I know that you and Lori have been trying to figure out a way to make that happen.
Yeah, and definitely, like I'll have further conversations with the staff around this. But if we want to be sort of like earmarking a certain amount of the barrier buster dollars just for those folks who are in need of those accessible ramps, definitely. Obviously OCD has our own ramp division or our own sort of ramp programming, but there is a long wait list, and the funds dry up very quickly, unfortunately.
And when you need it, you need it right then, yeah. Things change quickly. All right, we have any other questions or comments? John?
Yes. Is this financial literacy class term limited? In other words, is it for 2 years, 3 years?
No, so the thing is really for, and just so you know, I'll be happy to come back and give a presentation on the Financial Empowerment Center to this body, if you like, because I do want to promote it. But basically, it's going to be on the person's desires, right? So maybe, they're going through a workforce program and they've never had a bank account, right? And we've got relationships over at Michigan Works where the vocational counselor will, as part of the person's action plan, kind of like embed in like, hey, maybe it might be a good idea to meet with a financial coach to do banking. But maybe they have other ideas and other dreams after that, right? Maybe they want to start up a small business. And then our coaches will help with kind of like, well, what needs to be done? Does there need to be an improvement in the credit score so that you qualify for a better small business loan? At other financial empowerment centers, the relationship between the client and the coach lasts anywhere between 6 months to about 2 years. And I just want to stress, too, that this is one-on-one coaching or counseling, while there will be some like financial literacy classes that our team will provide, is going to be really focused on those individual households to make sure that, there's sort of like clear metrics and achievements for them.
So, yeah, which is good because you're not just dumping them after they get to a certain point.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do with Barrier Busters. I know when people need those services, they are needed, and it provides almost immediate relief during really hard times. So thank you for the work that you and the staff and the people have done around that.
Thank you.
We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Moon. Number 3 is request authorization to purchase a software upgrade for court recording software, which is a 3-year annual license at $4,300 per year, contingent upon a budget amendment. This is not ARPA funds.
Correct.
You need a motion.
So move. Support.
Motion Rowe, support Peterson.
Good afternoon. I'm here if you have any questions about it. This is our recording system, so we need it to operate. We've been fortunate to go for probably 10 years on the current system, but the Windows upgrades underneath it is no longer, it's phased out, and we can't match it to our operating system. So we're in a spot now where we have to do it. So we appreciate the support of getting that done and allowing us to continue to do what we need to do with that piece of it. I'm happy to answer any questions about the program or why we need it or any other questions you may have.
Questions regarding the it's software up?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
You have to do it, yeah. So we have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 4 is a request to authorization to seek sealed bids for the community center ball field lighting. This is ARPA funding.
So move.
Support.
Motion Rowe, support Hunter. This will also come back to the board once it's advertised for bids and they're formally accepted by the board. Are there questions and comments regarding this? This outdoor lighting will, currently we have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi. My name's Floki Ivy. I live in Sugarbrook, and I came here because I've been working diligently with the community ARPA and Ypsi Nice. We did a survey and community engagement with hundreds of people from our community to figure out what people actually wanted money spent on, and lighting was never one of the things that was discussed under the hundreds of people that we had community outreach with. And some other things that that were not discussed were the parking lots being redone, or the pond getting refilled, or the things in the parks being revamped and not even really being specific about what that means. People are very specific about what our community needs and what that looks like to them. Inside of our survey, we provided those survey results to the board, and this doesn't seem to reflect at all what it is that our community said that we wanted. And I guess my question is, why are you ignoring us? Our community is suffering. There are so many things that need to be done. The school has black mold. Our kids' asthma is being extremely exacerbated by black mold in the school. We're on the bottom tier for food at the school for the kids. Okay, that's just one. For 2, I've had kids who haven't been to school for weeks because of the busing system deficiencies within our system. There are so many problems in our community, it's unconscionable that we are spending money on LED lights to the tune of almost $1 million, and spending money on these parks that we've already been putting money in, when our kids can't even breathe or eat healthy food, when our kids live in food deserts, when there's not a safe sidewalk for our kids to disembark the local bus to get to our school, because the buses don't drop the kids off, they just get canceled, and then the kids have to run across the street to get to us. Where are the sidewalks for our kids to be safe? This is the most ridiculously negligent plan I have seen, and ignores the needs of children, it ignores the needs of our community, and ignores dramatically what we have asked you to do. And I ask you to care more about people than bathrooms. This is ridiculous. Because this is supposed to be a rescue plan, and I ask you, what are you rescuing? Bathrooms? People? Galvanized pipes? You're not rescuing anything. And I can say the only thing that
Your time's up, Floki.
the only thing I agree with is the barrier busters and the bus. Other than that, you've been derelict of duty, and I'm disappointed in this board. It's time for a new board.
Thank you. So we have a motion and support to seek sealed bids for the community center ball field lighting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is a request authorization to seek quotes for monthly newsletters to Ypsilanti Township community. This too will be brought back to the board.
Support.
Motion Swanson, support Rowe. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 is request authorization to approve OHM to provide professional services for preliminary engineering, design, and bidding for the Ypsilanti Township Civic Center parking lot improvements. This is ARPA funding.
So move.
Motion Rowe.
Support.
Support Eldridge. I know Matt's here. If anyone has any questions regarding the parking lot bids, and your comments need to be directed to the parking lot bids, because that's what the agenda item is. Matt, is Matt still here?
Yeah, and Matt, would you do me a big, it's hard to see when the light's on, I'm so sorry to ask. Would you mind just flipping that switch before you go up? Right behind you is a floodlight on the wall. I'm sorry, no, I just can't see.
It is kind of.
Thank you.
Would you like a brief
Yes.
synopsis? Okay, I'm Matt Parks with OHM. We provided a proposal to design, and this has been something we've been talking about since 2017. After the completion of Vets Drive, discussions started on the Civic Center parking lot. Township has experienced some water main breaks in the area. The drainage and actually all the stormwater drainage that comes from the pond and all the area around the Civic Center drains through and under the parking lot. I think the last time the township did any major improvements to that parking lot was probably 2003, and even that was just a pulverize and overlay, so it's been served its useful life and then some, so it's time to kind of get a fresh start. We prepared a proposal for full reconstruct. There is a revised version that was sent out to the clerk that include, and I did contact Yucca today about water main replacement under the parking lot and completing of a loop, which will help provide a redundant source of water to the Township Civic Center. And then there is an alternative option that was provided that includes like more of a greenscape. So the base proposal that's provided basically it includes a base fee. What this would do would, and the concepts being shown there, it provides a little bit safer ADA access to and from the front door to both the courthouse and the Civic Center, helps green things up a little bit, and actually will help control and slow down speeds, because when the parking lot's more empty, we get a lot of traffic that comes in and speeds across diagonally through the parking spots, and it'll just help with a little bit of traffic calming and making things safer. So that's an option in the proposal, and the prices list there. So happy to answer any questions. This would include full removal of the aggregate base and basically build everything new. Life expectancy would be at 15 to 20 years, and then with a mill and overlay, you could probably get 30 to another 35 years out of this parking lot.
Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering about like the area, like the green space around it. Is there anything that would be included that would help with like runoff or rain garden, that kind of stuff that would help with that surfacing?
Yeah, well, anytime you reduce impervious surface, certainly. The green area, actually, where we drew it, there's a catch basin or two, so we could look at creative design where the green space would actually have a spillway. It could be looked at for a potential rain garden. That's all part of the design, just to look at that. But yeah, anytime we can implement any kind of green infrastructure ideas and reduce the amount of runoff into the storm system, because basically this parking lot runs into the creek that goes behind the library out to the regional detention pond, and then from there to the Paint Creek. So water quality is always a concern. So.
Questions or comments?
I have to apologize in advance. Is there going to be a time for public comment that's not specifically about approving all these specific like capital improvement bids? Or because it seems like this might be, there was not time before this to get kind of general public input about how to spend the money, and maybe it's not on the agenda, but I think it might be a good opportunity anyway even though the horse is already out of the barn, to allow people to speak. What do you think about that? Because I don't want to speak out of turn, but what do you think about that idea, Brenda and Heather?
From a special meeting perspective, this is for the agenda items, so we have to address each agenda item.
Yeah, but what about afterwards? Because the public didn't really have like an open meeting opportunity to speak. I know you were under, this time pressure because of the clawback, but it seems like the duty of the township to at least get some kind of public information. Like there was, I know this isn't much time, but 2 weeks, right, to call a meeting. So I think at the end of the meeting, after we discuss this, there should be some time, or schedule one in retrospect to discuss what happened here. What do you guys think? Trustees who represent us?
Well, for this meeting, it's set by Robert's
Okay,
Rules
but
of
I'm
Order.
asking as a citizen, and
Yeah,
trustees
I
who
understand.
represent us, what do you think about calling a meeting if we can't do it today, at some point in the near future, to discuss what happened?
Karen, I'd be happy to follow up with you tomorrow about, a time that we could do something like that, like a work session
With
before
the
the next board
community.
meeting.
And advertise it to the community. I know you're voting on it, but I would like to see things going forward in the township to be more transparent and responsive to community members. I think that might be kind of an issue. And I'm just asking in good faith and trusting you to respond in good faith to make more avenues. I understand there was a rush, right, in this case, but
Yeah.
but yeah, Heather, if you would call a meeting, in retrospect, and maybe then listen to some community input, I would really appreciate that. Would you be willing to do that?
I'd be willing to talk to you tomorrow about it and follow up.
Not just me, but the community in general. What about trustees?
Well, this isn't a Q&A. We really have to stick to the special meeting agenda, although I spoke with you earlier and I heard what Clerk Rose said, but we have to speak. This is a very specific meeting. And
No, I understand that, but
so we can talk afterwards, but we have to
Okay,
kind
all
of
right.
stick to the agenda, if that's okay. We have a motion. We have a motion and
May I?
Sure.
Brenda and trustees, everybody knows who I am, so I'm here to represent Sugarbrook as well as the township in general. When these ARPA funds were initially,
Sir, I'm so sorry. Just for the meeting minutes, if you could state your name, the person who does.
Glenn Fitzhugh,
Thank you.
Sugarbrook
Thank you
Neighborhood
so
Watch
much.
Coordinator.
Really appreciate that.
So when it comes to the ARPA funds are there to support community involvement and engagement, what we can do better. So when it comes to redoing the Civic Center pond, redoing the parking lot, how's that helping out our communities? Okay, and I know I'll come back again when we come back to the parks, but there has to be more thought into this. I know we were supposed to have it for the next 3 years to spend it as we needed, and I know there was a timeline suddenly, but how can you take money that we could utilize in our communities and spend it to fix your parking lot when we could have used tax dollars for that over a long term? Okay, that's where my question is. We had $9 million, and I know it takes $1 million to make a mile of road, but at the same time, what else can you do for the communities? When these people walk out their door, they're miserable. They have a park they can't go to, but we'll revisit that. So my question to you is, as a board and the people that are spending our money that was supposed to help the communities out, how can you redo your parking lot, line your pond for $350,000? Can we just empty it and fill it with dirt and make a garden out of it? There's got to be other options than spending the money that the government gave us to better our communities.
Thank you, Glenn. We do have a motion and support on the parking lot improvements for OHM engineers.
I contemplated whether or not I was going to say something. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Leah Mills. I'm a resident of West Willow. And so I'm a bit troubled at what I'm seeing here on the agenda, that I'm hearing our board so effortlessly approve. When we look at the U.S. Department of Treasury, because I don't like to just come up here and just speak from a feelings perspective, right? I like to look at what was given for our political officials to utilize, right, as they move forward in their governance. And so when I look at the U.S. Department of the Treasury, it indicates that the ARPA dollars was supposed to be used to protect the communities, including those that are high risk and underserved. So when I look at the allocation of dollars that you all are authorizing, it is not going towards the communities that need to be protected and need to be are underserved, right? So I'm looking at my community in general. Just last Friday, not this past one, but the Friday before, there was a young person that drove a car at 100 miles an hour. When he should have been in school, he drove 100 miles an hour up Tyler Road, crashing into someone's property. Could have killed multiple individuals. This young man should have been in school, or he should have had some sort of programming that could have been assisting him outside of school to get him back on track to do what it is that he needs to do. This is what our community is asking for, right? We're not asking for the continuation of blood in the streets. We're not asking for even the apathetic looks that we receive when we come to you, begging for you to do right by the people. We're asking for you all to take in consideration human beings and not things, right? When I hear the gentleman here say 2017, that let me know that you all had a problem long before ARPA and COVID-19, right? You all already knew that there was some issues going on with your infrastructure, whatever it may be, the beautification, beautiful, have no issue. But this is the wrong pot of money to draw from. And so now it looks as though you are utilizing some funds that were given to you and mismanaging it by putting it in a direction that is not supposed to go. And so I admonish you. I don't know you all personally. Some of you I know of. But I admonish you to think of the people. These issues, I'm certain, may not be touching your door at this point. But we need to know that where it starts in one place, it does not remain there. It eventually bleeds out, and it eventually comes to your door. And so I'm asking that you all, even if you table it at this point, to stop, speak with the people, find out what it is that they need. What are we looking for? This summer is about to be really, really hot. And I'm not just talking about the sunshine, right? I'm talking about the violence that will continue to ensue and to ramp up. These dollars need to be funneled in a way that will protect those underserved communities and populations. And so I'll leave you with that. I pray that you all look deep down inside and think outside of yourselves to consider the people that need the funding the most.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Rod Casey, Ypsilanti Township delegate. I'd like to know, first of all, who represents the Huron Heights and Huron Ridge area, northwest part of
Can you
Ypsilanti?
speak in the microphone?
Huh?
Can you speak into the microphone, please? I'm sorry, Rod. There you go, buddy. The person who does the minutes, they're not in the room.
Okay.
Does it work? It works.
Okay, as I was saying, who represent the Huron Heights, Huron Ridge area on this here panel? Because the district been split and I don't know who's on what district. Could anybody at the table tell me who's for that district?
We're elected township-wide. We're not by a district.
Okay, because I know it used to be precincts. You had representatives for each precinct. Okay. But just to speak to the board as a whole, you know, like a lot of our people on my side is low income, and they have suffered a lot from housing, transportation, medical, and a lot of other issues just as well. Now, Ann Arbor City Council utilized some of their funds to pay 100 people $500 a month, and probably even more. And I want to know if you would consider that to our townspeople that really need this here. Because as Leah said, you know, this is not for no infrastructure right there. We should go back and get Congresswoman Dingle to bring that in. But we need to spend this on the people. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Rod. Here we go.
Looks good.
Looks safe.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. My name is Larisha, and I live in Ypsilanti Township. And I have actually lived here for like 10 years, right? And what I have learned since living here is that the community is so is just underdeveloped. And it's underdeveloped because there's so much gentrification that runs through the township alone. So now we got ARPA funds because of COVID. Nobody asked for COVID. I didn't ask for it, but we got those funds due to COVID. You guys stole all the money and you pocket it and you put it into a parking lot. Seriously, a parking lot and a pond. How about that? So, question. That pond, right? What is it going to do for the community? What is it doing? What is it going to do? I have to pay to go to the park. I have to park where I'm told, because I can't park where I want to park, in the park. And I pay as a resident. But I come to you guys for help, and you do nothing. You swindle us. You look at us and you smile. And then you pass these resolutions and these, but then the special, oh my God, special meeting agenda. Who the fuck thought of that?
Hey, watch your language, ma'am. Watch your language.
Oh, excuse me.
We have children.
Excuse me. But,
I know.
now, actually nobody's offended. We're more offended at you guys.
I'm offended.
That's actually, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself, all of you.
We have a motion and support for the Civic Center parking lot. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7 is a request to authorize approve the Spicer Group to provide professional services for preliminary engineering, design, and bidding. This is ARPA funds, and it's for projects in West Willow, Burns, Ford Heritage, Ford Lake, and Lakeside Park.
So move.
Support Peterson.
Support Peterson.
Good evening. I am Joanne McCullum. I'm the president of the New West Willow Neighborhood Association, and the park that you listed of improving is in West Willow. That's where I lived for 29 years. On behalf of the New West Willow Neighborhood Association Board, I would like to thank the Ypsilanti Township Board for allocating $350,000 of ARPA funds to improve the West Willow Neighborhood Park. We have been wanting that for some time. We have been looking for that. We know the advantages of it, and we have had youth talk about the park. We've had seniors talk about the park. We've had families talk about the park. So we know how important it is. But one of the things, there are several things that are really important about a neighborhood park. It contributes to community identity. It provides active and passive recreational opportunities. It appeals to all ages. If they feel safe coming, and it contributes to health and wellness. It strengthens your heart and prevent heart disease. If you come to the park and the improvements that are listed that are going to happen at the park, and people talk about, you know what, if that's just paved, I would come and I would walk on there. And that would be so helpful for West Willow because we have the worst index of health and so many things in the township. So this is something we have been looking forward to. It decreases blood pressure and cholesterol, reduces inflammation, so many nice things, creating safe gathering places. Parks give community members a safe location to gather and play. By having a safe place for their kids, which a lot of parents are concerned about in West Willow, is that their kids go to a park that's safe. And we know that these improvements are going to help that. They're going to attract people to the park, more people there gathering, and they'll see that it's safe, and they'll come to the park more often. And the kids will engage with more physical activity and enjoy more significant benefits. So on behalf of the New West Willow Neighborhood Association Board, I would like to thank you for listening to the needs of the community and your generous allocation to the West Willow Neighborhood Park. I know that I'm not supposed to talk about anything else on this list, but one of the things that I really like is that barrier busters, because helping people in the community, that was an obstacle. It's not having that money, those resources there at barrier busters, so that's good. The Ypsilanti Township Community Newsletter, that is very significant. I'm hoping that we can connect and maybe we can help you put some things in that community newsletter to reach people in the community, because they need to know where the resources are. They need to know where they can get help. And also the resource, the building at 2057, fixing that up. All of that helps in the community. It helps the health, it helps the quality of life, and it helps mental health as well as physical health. So I want to thank you for helping out the community. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those will also come back to the board. Number 8 is the request authorization to seek sealed bids for the renovations to the Community Resource Center located. Huh? Did I not vote?
Yeah, there was more talking about parks. There was just some discussion about.
We had a motion and support. We voted. I voted. Yeah.
Let the child speak.
They want us to.
It's out of Robert's report.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I was just having this conversation with my sister. I said, here you go, Mona, here's $20, and I want you to put those $20 to help someone. And then my sis, and I was like, think about it. So say that you went and you spent those $20 on Hershey bars, and when those $20 could have been put into putting in new roads to help there be less car crashes, or there to be put in speed bumps so people don't go speeding down my road and almost crash through my house. Those could be put in for helping my school get better technology, or they could be used for making, or they can be used for like making it so that all of my things can be better.
And then they just ignored you.
Thank you.
And my sister said, well, that's not really fair because you said that I had $20 and I was supposed to help the environment, but what if I spent all that money on Hershey bars? And I was like, exactly, because all of that money would go into helping one industry, one person, one thing, and you could have helped so many other people with that $20 that would have helped a lot better.
Right.
Go into better things.
So you feel like their plan isn't helping our community, it's just helping out just a small group of people?
I feel like a new pond isn't really helping out anybody.
Right. Okay.
I feel like more like if they put it into different things that made our community safer would have been a better a better use for the money.
Thank you. And then I also want to just say, when it
We're
comes
on number 8. Let me, we have to move to the next item. You can still
I
speak.
want to talk about the parks one.
We already voted on that. so-
Okay, well, I'm going to speak to it because
No, listen, I've allowed everyone to speak whenever they want, but now we voted on that item. We have to move to the next
before I
one.
could speak on it.
No.
You're going to vote the same regardless, so I'm not sure what the point is.
Number 8 is a request authorization to seek sealed bids for the renovations to the Community Resource Center located at 2057 Tyler Road.
So move.
And now people can speak to the agenda.
Okay, I'm all for spending money on parks, but there's a lot of research on where the money for the park should have been spent. Tajali Hodges is one of the most knowledgeable people about our parks in the district. She is the head of Parks and Recreation, and we contacted Tajali Hodges about this, and she said she was never contacted or asked or anything about what she wanted this money spent on or where she wanted the money spent or anything like that. So what kind of community outreach was done, even if you're not even asking your fellow elected officials that we as the people elected? This makes no sense that you guys have ignored us, and then people are giving these impassioned speeches, and as we go through these points, point by point, and you guys are just ignoring what we're saying, and everyone's just blanket passing it. I hope you know that we're all watching and your seats are up.
Yeah. So we have a motion and support to fix the CRC Center on Tyler Road. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9 is a request authorization to approve Stantec Consulting to provide professional services for preliminary engineering and conceptual design
So move.
for the Ypsilanti Township Community Center bathroom improvements and replacement of the galvanized pipes.
Support,
Motion?
Peterson.
Motion Rose, support Peterson. Questions or comments about the community center renovations on Clark Road? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10 is budget amendment number 8. Clerk Rowe?
I have a motion to amend the 2023 budget amendment number 8. Move to increase the general fund budget by $1,696 to $13,760,550 and improve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the 14B district court fund budget by $4,300 to $1,728,473 and approve the department line items changes as outlined. And move to increase the American Rescue Plan ARPA fund budget by $8,866,706 to $9,466,706 and approve the line item changes as outlined. I would so move the budget amendment.
Motion Rose, support Eldridge. Questions or comments on the budget amendment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved, and the meeting is adjourned, but I'll be happy to stay and listen. We have a meeting at 6:30, but